That's right. Oh, Face Wrestling. Listen to the podcast. Listen. They are Dark Side approved. Holiday approves it. Oh, Face Wrestling. I'll be listening. Will you?
Hi, I'm MCW Women's Champion Gia Scott, and you're watching O Face Wrestling.
I'm the one-eyed, thick-thighed Woad, and you're watching O Face Wrestling.
Come and listen to O Face Wrestling Podcast with your favorite Siren the Voodoo Doll, aka Nina Monet.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I am joined by Lola Starr. So thank you for joining us today, Lola.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So I had you join the show today because I had some questions I wanted to ask you. So first question I want to ask you is, like, you are a transgender star, so tell me a little bit about being a transgender wrestler. Like, is there any complications, with being transgender and a wrestler?
I mean, thus far in my journey, I feel like it's been surprisingly very good. I feel like I got a lot of acceptance and love from a lot of my coaches and trainers and peers for the most part. I mean, every now and then you have somebody, an internet troll, that wants to say something dumb, but it's whatever. I don't really let that bother me. But prior to me starting, I feel like was the real struggle, just trying to find myself and, fully love myself and, accept myself before I could do anything. It was limiting me in a lot of ways because I felt like, okay, if I'm not a woman, I can't do this. If I'm not a woman, I can't do that. Or even if I do, this person's gonna have something to say, that person's gonna have something to say. So it was more of an inner struggle than anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I could understand potentially people in the crowd just saying ignorant things. And I go to live shows, local shows all the time, and people just say the most ignorant things to wrestlers. Some people think, oh, it's just part of the show, but no, there's this one female wrestler, people say make lesbian comments, even I don't know if she is or not, honestly, but they'll say these things and I'm just that's really rude, whether she is or isn't.
Yeah,
you gotta feel some type of way. And I've seen fans, videos online of fans yelling stuff I think it was Io Shirai, maybe they made
yeah,
you saw that too, and then she actually turned around and said something. Fans say stuff all the time. So me as a wrestler, if I were in your shoes, I would be, kind of because me personally, I can be sensitive sometimes. So I would just kind of be worried about what, other people could say, because sometimes that really gets to you because people don't understand that wrestlers are people too. They have feelings,
Exactly.
They think they can, just because they're a wrestler and they're portraying whatever character they're portraying, they can say these things and it's part of the show, but, people might not take it that way.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like being in any form of spotlight, whether it's wrestling, music, just being an athlete, anything, you're just subject to criticism and you're subject to, a lot of people motivating you. But it's my auntie was telling me not too long ago, she's you got to take the good with the bad, you're out there and you're trying to do great things, but, you're going to be out there too, and people are going to hate and, try to, bring you down. So you just got to be, ready and have that thick skin. And, that's very true.
Yeah,
exactly. Pretty brutal sometimes.
It just kind of, unfortunately, it's just something that kind of comes with the job. And sometimes you just got to do your best just to ignore it and, all. So the next question I had for you is, so when did you exactly start training to be a wrestler?
So I started about 2 years ago. I made it my New Year's resolution around going into 2018. And so I started maybe the second or third week, and when I was still living in Illinois at the time. And I tried to find one of the schools I eventually ended up coming back to, but I think they had a show or something that weekend, so they couldn't get back to me. And I ended up catching up with the one in Woodstock, which was 3 hours away from me. So I was driving there like 3-4 times a week so I could get my training in because I just wanted to be there so bad.
Gotcha. And
Oh
I
yeah.
know like recently you started training again. So what made you want to go through the training process again?
Well, okay, so I had a bit of a rough patch, like, well, just year in general last year. I had lost my uncle, and then months later, I lost my granddad, and then, me and a really good friend of mine, things just went, oop, I'm sorry, I had got a
You're good.
low battery. I'm so sorry.
No, you're
Me and a
fine.
friend, we unfortunately, didn't see eye to eye anymore, and the relationship terminated, and so I was dealing with that, and, personal things with my job and just me in general, just trying to find like my own footing. Like I was like, okay, I thought this was who I was and what I wanted to do. And then I was like, okay, that's not working for me anymore. And I was kind of questioning the whole thing. I was like, maybe all this is happening to me to tell me like, wrestling's not for you, or like maybe, I did all that I could do. But my boyfriend actually really encouraged me, and my friends were just like, this is something you put so much into. Like, are you sure you want to just like, wipe your hands of it? Like, you should at least try to start, working out again, and, just start from ground zero, because it had been a while since I had been to practice anyway. I was just working matches, but I really believe in, quality over quantity. Like, I'd rather, put in a lot of thought and effort into making a good story with someone that I have chemistry with and things, instead of just doing random matches. I'm not even training, and, just to get my number up. I'd rather know what I'm doing, and every time you see it, it's like, wow, that's a moment, So, yeah, so I went and I've been checking out a new school. Super excited. I might even be starting tonight. I'm not sure. It just depends on if the trainer is there, because he specifically wants to, evaluate me and see where I'm at.
Okay, yeah, so wow, you're starting really soon then.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So hopefully today.
so when it comes to like the training, what's like the first thing they typically teach someone that's training to be a wrestler?
So baby steps. It was like just rolling, like learning to lock up properly, and just like minor bumps, like learning to give and take a suplex, learning to give and take a hip toss, arm drag, things of that nature, and like definitely running the ropes. It's more so conditioning than anything, because
Hmm.
man, being in being in that ring, if you are not in shape, you will find out very quick. Very, very
Exactly. Yeah, I
quick.
can agree with that. I mean, I've never done it, but like when I saw that Fighting with My Family movie with Paige, and they were showing like all the training and all the process, like she was a good wrestler, but when
Mm-hmm.
they started doing all the cardio stuff and all the workouts and all, she was not in that shape, and it's just like you would never believe the kind of shape they have to be in. Like I feel like they put more effort into working out and all that than like a football player or a baseball
Yeah.
player. Like wrestling is intense, and a lot of people don't realize that, and like the toll it takes on your body. Like when you started taking your first bumps, like what kind of toll did it take on
Oh.
you?
Oh my God. And then like I want to say it was like my first or second day. I could barely get out the bed. And then my job at the time, like I walked the entire day. So my legs, I'm like,
Mm.
ow, 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 ow. I need ibuprofen. I need like anything. I'm so in pain. And they were like, yeah, that's usually how we can tell who's going to come back or not, because you're in so much pain. Do you really want to come back and bump again? But nope, I went right back. Kept going.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to do, and it's like I pretty much hear the same thing from everyone that I've interviewed. Like it's just so much brutal on your body and on you, but you just have to keep going and going and going and all that. What is probably the most painful move you've been put in so far?
The most painful thing, I feel like honestly, I wouldn't say anything was painful, but most are like scary. Cause I
Hmm.
mean, cause it's like you have to train your body to like fall, and like human nature is to, I don't want to fall, So, taking back bumps was kind of like a mind, like, fuck for me, excuse me. But I was just kind of like fall backwards and then try to like break my fall. I'm like, I don't know, but the more you do it, then you're just like, okay, whatever. I know how to like, I can protect myself. But I would say The back body drop was actually a very scary moment for me because I
Mm.
did it, but I mean, my head was like this close from the ground, and I like tucked at the very last second. So I'm still here and alive and healthy to tell the story, but that was probably like the scariest one that I took, the back body drop.
Gotcha. Yeah, like that's one thing that people don't think of too. When you like drop back like that, you have to kind of like hold up your head too, because if your head,
Hmm.
bounces and smacks that,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a concussion right there,
yeah, concussion
possibly.
for sure. Hmm.
So one question I do want to ask too is, a lot of at least on, when you're watching wrestling on TV, they advertise like the outside or the end of the ring, like to be the hardest part of the ring. Is that true?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the most because like the steel, like the frame of the ring, like that's where the steel is, and the more to the center, the like safer you are. Which
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, and that on that edge, yes, it's hard. It's like
Okay. Yeah. That's something I've always wondered, because sometimes they'll
oh yeah,
advertise something as being more brutal than what it really is. So that's
oh
just
it really
something I had
is.
asked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part of the ring. It's not a myth.
So were you a big fan of wrestling, growing up?
I would say it like came and went. It was definitely in my like household. Like my uncle was very into it. I had some cousins who were really into it and like played the games and everything. And so that kind of got me a little interested. And then more so going into like middle school and up, that's when I really started being like, ooh, like, okay, I really like this. And then when they came out with like Total Divas and everything, I was like, okay, this is something I think I really want to do. So
Okay, so you kind of got into it like hardcore, like around what 2000? When did Total Divas come out? Was that like
oh no. I mean
2014?
before then, but I would say like maybe '06, '07
Oh,
is
six
when I
or seven.
really started
Okay,
like tuning in and watching it on YouTube and everything. Mm.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yep.
that's around the era that I missed. I'll be honest with you, because I was into it in the late '90s throughout probably like
Yeah.
2002, 2003. So I missed like that whole era. I got back into it
Mm.
in 2010,
Okay.
and I mean it's changed a lot since then. I'll tell you that. I mean,
Yeah.
who are some of your favorite wrestlers?
Eve Torres, the Bella Twins, Candace and Tori started it for me. They were like one of the first ones that I like ever laid eyes on. Always loved China. I just loved how she was just this like strong, like beautiful woman, and she was like hanging with the guys and winning their titles and making them like really have to work hard to get her. And I thought that was
Hmm.
so cool. Um, yeah, I would say that was like the main ones that I first started getting into. Yeah. Oh, and
Gotcha.
Michelle McCool. Love
Michelle
Michelle
McCool.
McCool.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the diva era right there, minus China.
Yep.
It's funny that my dad had like the biggest crush on China when I was younger. But yeah, like during that era, because I remember that's when I got into it. I was a big fan of Kelly Kelly. Like, oh my
Yes,
goodness,
and
Kelly
Kelly. I
Kelly,
was just thinking. I was like, I
Natty.
should have said her.
Yeah, she was like my biggest crush, when I got into it. Like I had her posters on my wall and everything like that.
Yes.
I've heard, I mean, rumors are rumors, but I heard like that WWE might actually sign her sometime soon.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, that would be kind of cool to like see that era come back, and
Yeah,
show
like
up and show out. That'd be cool.
I'm kind of waiting for like maybe like a Survivor Series kind of thing where it's like the Diva era versus like the modern era, something
Oh,
like
I
that.
would
That
love
would be pretty
that.
cool.
Hmm.
So, as far as like you wrestling and all, what wrestlers are on your list of like dream matches for you?
Oh man, I feel like there's so many. Like, I don't see it happening now since like she retired due to like things that are just out of her control. But if somehow Nikki Bella could ever get cleared, like I mean, I feel like I owe her my career because like she's been like my biggest inspiration through it all. Like Charlotte Flair. I love Bianca, so I would love that. Um, the Iconics, because I love them, and so I would love to find a partner and feud with them or have
Mm,
a match with them or even team with them. That'd be cool. Man, there's so many. Like almost any and everyone. To be completely honest,
uh-huh.
it would just be an honor to like step in there with them, like and get to do something, make history together. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I figured you would say Bianca because I think it was on your Instagram, you had a picture with her. So I
Yeah.
figured you were a big fan of her. How was it like meeting her?
Oh, she is awesome. Like that's like my girl. Like I love her. She was very cool because I had told her, I was like, trying to think because I had been talking to her for quite some time, because the minute I saw her in NXT and she had that really long braid, and I was just like, and then her gimmick, the EST, I was like, that's awesome. And then I saw how she backed it up. Like, she literally is like the best. She's got the look, she's athletic. And then, like, I see myself in her, that representation. I love it. And I'm just like, oh, I want her to like succeed. And so I was talking to her a little bit, and I was letting her know, I was like, hey, one of my friends hooked us up with some tickets to NXT. Like, I would love to, finally meet you after talking to you for so long. And so we met up, and Montez was there, and it was an awesome moment. She like wished me luck in my match that I had later that week. So I was like, crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I would have to say you were definitely lucky. She's definitely one of the top on my list that I want to meet one day. Yeah. It's very hard to be able to meet a WWE superstar just because you never know when they're going to be in town. You never, even if they are in town, it's not even guaranteed to meet them and all that. So hopefully, because I go to meet and greets in New Jersey, and I Play America. I've met Becky there, Alexa, Sasha, so I'm hoping that maybe she'll be there one day.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
One thing I like about her, and I've seen this with other wrestlers too, she plays a really good heel on TV, but she's one of the sweetest people in real life. Like, I've listened to her interviews with Lillian Garcia on Chasing Glory. I even had her do a cameo for my wife for Valentine's Day, and she just seems like the nicest person. So, I mean, I just love it, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah,
I had also met Nikki and Brie like forever ago for Valentine's Day, and that was a really nice moment. Like, that was nice.
Oh wow! I bet you Patricia and Krista would be jealous of that. I know they're the biggest fans of them.
Yes, I was like, I was even telling my mom, because she went with me, and I was like, oh my God, they're like literally right there. I was like,
what's crazy is they were actually at I Play America too. We just we're not like the biggest fans of it, so it's like a 3-hour drive for us, but I mean, yeah, we had an opportunity to meet them a few years ago. I heard that because I overheard some people talking in the line because they were there at that meet and greet. They said that was like the craziest, most packed one they've ever been to. So they definitely got a huge fan base.
Oh yeah, the Army's strong.
So last question I have for you kind of goes about with the dream matches you had. Is there any matches from any wrestlers on the independent circuit that you would like to wrestle?
Honestly, I've met and talked to Jessica Havoc quite a few times, and I like love her. Like, I would consider her to be like a good friend of mine. I would love to actually have a match with her, because I would love that contrast, like the David and Goliath kind of battle. And even like the girls who I've already worked with, who I came up with, like I would love to go at it with Roxy Reyna again, and Foxy Ross. Foxy Ross, I'm sorry, from Wrestle-E in Chicago. That's my home, where I came from. I would love to work with them again. Trying to think who else. Even out here, like in Mercado, like we haven't had a match just yet. I'm just like open. Like, I just want to make magic with everybody. Like, I just want to. I love storytelling. Like, I love just coming up with a story like on the spot, and just have a reason to get people like invested, whether I'm the good guy or they're the bad guy, or vice versa. So.
Exactly. Like, that's what fans want. They want a good story. They want the match to make sense versus it being just two people just thrown in. I mean, it's nice if they both are established stars and it's kind of like a dream match, but nothing is better than being invested into the story in a match, because that's what really gets you hyped up the most at the end of the day is the story. Like, if they would have just threw Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan in a WrestleMania match, it wouldn't have meant as much if they didn't have that story that Kofi had with climbing the mountain. And also, stories are very important in WWE, regardless if people actually realize that or not.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, that wraps up all the questions I have for you in this interview. So want to thank you again, Lola, for joining us today here on O Face Wrestling.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. Do you want to share your social media with everyone that's listening?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on everything at the Lola Starr with 2 R's because I'm cool.
Yeah, too, because she's cool. And also make sure you follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at O Face Wrestling. Thank you all for tuning in today. And once again, thank you again, Lola, for joining us today.
Yes, thanks for having me.